All right, welcome back everyone to the second episode, I guess, of our football roundup. I'm back with Will and Krish. Boys, how we doing? We all right?
Yeah, all good, thanks, Dave.
Good as ever. When are we not?
Good to hear. So the plan is we're going to basically go through our Premier League team of the season so far, given individual performances. But given what I've just watched for the last 2 hours, we're going to have to quickly gloss over what just happened in the United game. Krish, being our United fan, what on earth have I just watched?
I don't know why you watched 2 hours of it. I mean, I was struggling. Is my hairline receded because I was pulling it out? I mean, it was really depressing from start to finish. I just don't get it. We're hot and cold, and there are just so many problems. The first is that we don't have any natural width, it seems. I mean, Fosu Mensah came on as a winger. Then Harry Maguire was playing centre forward. Defensive mistakes, and it all feels like we've given up a little bit. I think the victories against PSG and Leipzig were an exception to the rule, not the rule. And I think if we lose against Everton, I worry whether we will have the same manager after the international break.
Yeah, well, I think watching that game, I just think they've made a big mistake not gambling on 80 million for Grealish or 100 million for Sancho, because the lack of creativity in that final third was just ridiculous, I thought.
Yeah, it's because we have no natural width. So we have Van der Beek on the pitch, Pogba on the pitch, Bruno Fernandes on the pitch, Scott McTominay on the pitch, Matic on the pitch. I mean, how many centre midfielders do you need in a team? It's just unbelievable. And our fullbacks, they're not like Robertson or Trent Alexander-Arnold, where they get forward and can cross and create chances. It's so one-dimensional. And we can't beat a press either. Just can't. Oh, it's just
But this has been United for the past couple of years, hasn't it? You've had some unbelievable performances. Like if you think even about PSG away a couple of years ago, like you get to moments in the season where you think, right, this is it. We've won that massive game. Now we're going to kick on. This is going to be the start of something under Ollie. And then we're straight back to square one again.
Yeah, but all of the games that we've won, those big games, the victories against Man City, Frank Lampard's Chelsea, PSG, and so on, they're all playing a certain way where we park the bus and counterattack. I mean, we're brilliant at that. We must be one of the best teams in the world at being really compact and then using that front three to counterattack. But when we have more of the ball, it's so slow and laborious. And as Leif, you were saying, there's no ideas, no creativity, no width. And we can't beat a press. And then you know that we got a mistake in us. I mean, what the bloody hell happened for the first goal? I mean, what even is that? That's just crazy. I mean,
yeah, I've never seen anything like that first goal. Anyway, I don't want to let you have too much of a downer, and we'll get on to our team of the season. Basically, we've just picked basically who we think our 11 best players are so far this year. Obviously, we've also made it so our teams can actually work as a football team. We haven't just picked 11 forwards, given how this season started. But yeah.
Oh, is that not how we were supposed to do it? That's what I did.
But we'll start with our keepers. I'm going to go to Wingle first. Wingle, who's between the sticks for you?
All right, mate. Firstly, I will touch upon what you just said. I think defence and goalie were definitely the hardest because of the amount of goals that have been conceded so far this season. But I just went for a new man who's come in just this season, and I went for Edouard Mendy at Chelsea. The reason I went for him is because conceded 1 goal in 6, 5 clean sheets in 6 games, 3 in the league. And for me, I just feel like he hasn't really put a foot wrong. I mean, the only thing I can really think about is that dodgy back pass against United. But other than that, he's played well. He's done all right. He'll get opportunities. He sort of knew coming to the club that he was going to be number one, given Kepa's recent record. But I think 3 clean sheets start the season. He's conceded 1 goal in 6 games. For me, that's good enough to get my vote.
Krish, who have you got between the sticks in your team?
I went for Jordan Pickford. I think he's been really consistent. No, I didn't. I went for maybe a surprising one, but I went for Carl Darlow at Newcastle. I think he's actually played really well. Newcastle have been decent this season, not spectacular, but they've had a few good results. He certainly kept them in it at Spurs. when they managed to sneak a 1-1 draw. And I just think he's performed above the level of what you'd expect from a Newcastle goalkeeper.
And I'm going to follow that with exactly the same answer. I actually have Carl Darlow in goal. I'm denied between a few keepers. I quite like how Meslier started at Leeds. I know he had a poor night the other night.
He's my second choice.
But I think he's kept really well. But yeah, Darlow, again, that game was sparked one against Spurs. I know they kind of got saved with VAR, but he was quality all game. And even though they got dominated against United, you still got to save a penalty. So he's done that. I don't know what formations you've gone for, but I'm playing a back four. Have you guys got back fours?
Back four.
Yep.
Okay, so I think we do our centre-back partnership. I'll go first. Again, going on Wingle's start of how Chelsea have done this season with the defensive solidity they've had, I'm denied between Zuma and Thiago Silva, but I've gone for Thiago Silva. I know Zuma's got on the score sheet like 3 times, I think it is, but just how he's come in, that leadership role, that sort of dominance he has, just controls. They just look a bit more calm when he's on the ball and assertive. So he was straight in there for me. And then here comes the Aston Villa bias, but I've also got Tyrone Mings. I just think post-lockdown and starting this season, we've just been a lot more solid and he just controls the back four. I think Concer's obviously been good for us as well, but Mings, he got a goal on the weekend, and for me, he's just been class and a big leader in our team and why we've had so much success so far this year. But Krish, who have you got in your central roles at the back?
Yeah, so I was thinking about Tyrone Mings, but then I thought you'd pick him. So I thought, push the boat out a bit. And I've gone for Vestergaard of Southampton and Gabriel from Arsenal. So with Vestergaard, I think Southampton have played really well this season. Watching them against Everton, I thought they were fantastic. And then I did have a look on the old Premier League website and just looking at the stats, and his are brilliant for aerial duels. He's obviously a big lad, but equally tackles, playing out from the back and so on. And then Gabriel. So I know Arsenal have lost a few games this season, Leicester, Liverpool and City, I think. But in all of them, Gabriel has really marshalled that defence. And I think with a few more months drilled into Arteta's system, I think they can start to look like a proper unit.
And I went for, not Thiago Silva, but I actually went for Kurt Zuma. Do I think this guy's a great centre-back in that bracket? No, I don't. But do I think he's improved massively? 100%. Like you're saying, Leif, he's already scored 3 goals this season, particularly aerial battles. He's massively improved. And he's a threat in both boxes. If you ask me in 31 games' time, do I think he'll be my team this season? No, 100% not. But based on the first 7 games, I think, he's done really well. Which leads me to my second centre-back, an Everton player.
Harry Maguire.
Yeah. I've actually gone for Michael Keane. Signed a long-term contract in summer. Again, massive threat in both boxes, scored a few goals this season. England call up for that. And I just think, where was he before? Burnley?
I don't know where he was for.
He was at United before Burnley. He was at United.
At Burnley, I thought he was outstanding. And then obviously he moved to Everton and he didn't quite, hit the ground running how he liked to. And I think post-lockdown he's been superb for them, and that's one of the reasons why Everton's up there. So Keane and Zuma for me.
All right, Wingo, I'm going to let you finish off your back four with your wing backs. Who have you got as your right players? 4. Okay, my right back. I don't know if you boys would have written this man down, but he was rumoured to leave last season, and he stayed. And I've gone for Hector Bellerin. Now, the reason I've gone for Hector Bellerin is because I think he underperformed last season, and we know what a threat he is going forward. He's rapid, and I think so far this season he's been one of Arsenal's best players. Against United, he solidity at the back, dynamic going forward. Obviously, won the penalty as well. Had a couple of assists so far this season. And he was under criticism a lot last season, and this year he stepped up, his tackling, his recoveries. So I could have easily gone for someone like Trent or Luke Ayling. I think has done well this season. But right now I think Bellerin deserves a mention. So that's my right back. And then my left back, well, there's only one man for my left back, and it had to be the one and only Andy Robertson. And the reason I went for Andy Robertson actually is purely because I think he's been Liverpool's best player so far this season. He's been outstanding. He's consistent. He's an absolute animal. His work rate,
1 goal, 2 assists so far this season. And he's just a great player and a super character. And I think our back four has chops and changed so much this season. I don't actually think Trent, we expect such high levels from Trent now. I don't think he's quite started the season as he would have liked to. He's got into it recently. But Andy Robertson, for me, has been class. So that's Hector Bellerin and Andy Robertson.
All right, Krish, over to you, brother. I'm just going to run and get a tissue quickly.
Well, I, at right back, was going to go for Hector Bellerin. But then I noticed that he was playing under the influence of a moustache. And so I couldn't possibly include him. So I went for Cash of Villa.
Oh, here he is, Matty Cash.
What a brilliant signing that was.
Yeah,
I think he's aggressive, he gets forward, he's good positionally when he's defending crosses, he can tackle, he's the real deal. I think he's been fantastic. And we were talking earlier about how United have been struggling without natural width, particularly from the fullbacks. And with Matty Cash at Villa, they've got that, and there's a real balance to the side. And then at left back, I went for Chilwell, which may be controversial because he hasn't really played that much. But I think the early signs have been really encouraging. And in our last episode of Lathon Tour, I said that Chelsea are going to be the informed team in the second half of the season. I think whilst there's a lot of talk about their front three, I think Ben Chilwell is vital for that.
I've also doubled up on Chelsea, and I've gone Chilwell as well at left back. I just think, just quickly going back on the centre back partnership, I just think last year there was kind of the uncertainty of what that partnership should be. They've gone with Rudiger, Christensen, they've ummed and ahed about that sort of partnership and their back four in general. And Marcus Alonso obviously has been a sort of up and down left back in the past couple of seasons for Chelsea. Going forward, been great, but had a few questions of asked defensively. And I think Chilwell just has that great balance on both sides of the pitch that he adds to Chelsea's back four. And my right back, Umdenard, I liked Castagna for Leicester coming in this season, but he just missed out. I've actually gone for the youngster that everyone's been talking about this season. I've gone for Tarek Lamptey. For me, just looks unbelievable. There's times where he has the ball at his feet and he's a metre away from the defending left back and he just glides past them like nothing. I don't really see a right back like him. Just how quick and agile he is. He's not a Trent where he can whip in a ball from 40 yards and put it on someone's head, but he's someone that just has this agility and speed, and we saw he had a great finish against Spurs the other day, so he looks a real talent, and
big
something that
big signing.
Yeah.
Chelsea will miss someone like that because he would have been class for them.
Exactly, yeah. So I like him a lot.
Just quickly, I think it's actually quite interesting how when we last spoke, we were saying how Chelsea's defence has been pretty shaky, and it's all about their attack. And we've put forward the back five in our season so far. Yeah. So they're clearly doing something right over the last few weeks.
Exactly. All right, midfielders. I'm playing 4-3-3. Is that what you boys playing?
I'm playing 4-4-2 actually.
All right, okay.
4-4-2. The old-fashioned system.
I'm gonna just put in my holding midfielder because I wrote my team down about 10 times and I had about 6 attackers, so I have to change it and actually have someone who could pull the strings in the middle. And I've gone for Højbjerg for Spurs. I think when that signing came in at the start of the year, kind of went under the radar a little bit, kind of like a Decore signing at Everton, just went under the radar, and I really like him. I think he's a good player. I think the first week or the second game, he had a big mistake and everyone was kind of questioning that signing, but he just adds that solidity in the midfield for Spurs. And yeah, I just think he's a really good option. So I've got him as my holding midfielder. And then I'm going to quickly run through my midfield. Those are my 2 attacking midfielders. I've got James Rodriguez. Again, new man in the league this year. Big questions asked. Is he going to be able to provide that sort of talent and attacking threat that he had in the Colombian World Cup back a few years ago? And he's done that. He's provided so many opportunities for the likes of Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison up front. And he looks like a proper player. And then my last midfielder, no guesses what I've put here.
Paul Pogba.
I've put my boy Jack Grealish. I'm not going to bang on about him. I just think he's been class. 6 goals, 6 games, 4 goals, 4 assists. What more can you want? I'm not going to bang on about him, but yeah, that's my midfield. Krish, I'll go to you for your 2 central midfielders first.
Yeah, so I was chopping and changing to try and get the right balance. So I wanted Declan Rice because I think he's had a brilliant start to the season. I think West Ham have been one of the surprise teams so far. I mean,
Yeah, I agree.
David Moyes, we all know he's a football genius, and now he's making it happen at West Ham. And Declan Rice, he's a sort of man that he just sorts stuff out. You know, if the washing machine is broken, you bet it's Declan Rice phoning the company and getting it repaired done. You know, that's sort of who Declan Rice is, and I think that's important in a team. Big shout out to Alan though at Everton. He was close to getting in the team. And then my other. Oh, was I supposed to do the other midfielder?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So it's Tielemans.
Oh yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Leicester. I think Leicester have been good again, getting points on the board against Arsenal, and obviously that fantastic win against Man City. And everyone talks about Vardy, but I think just behind him in that midfield, the engine is Tielemans, and I think he's been fantastic.
He's been right. His pass on the weekend against Arsenal's class.
Yeah.
He's a good player. My 2 midfields. Well, Leif will be happy. One of them is Jack Grealish. Like you say, Leif, 4 assists, 4 goals. And I know you've obviously lost the last 2 games, but he's still contributed to goals and assists in that.
Just answer this question. How on earth is he not starting for England?
Can I answer that in 2 words?
Yeah, Mason Mount?
Gareth Southgate.
Yeah, there you go. Either answer is accepted.
I also think if Villa, if you're going to score, you always feel like Jack Grealish is going to be a part of that. And there's a reason he's one of the most foul players in the Premier League because, he glides past players. He's had a great start to the season, and I'm happy for you, Leif, especially that he stayed at Villa and that his future's more clear because you can see that in his performances. And his partnership with Ross Barkley, I love as well. And my other centre mid, well, this could be a bit biased, but it's Jordan Henderson. And the reason I went for Jordan Henderson is purely because when he plays, I feel like Liverpool play better. When he plays, we get results. And set that Villa game aside where he didn't actually play, he was on the bench, so I excuse him. But, I think for the last sort of couple of seasons, and if you asked anyone a couple of seasons ago what people thought of Jordan Henderson, you would say, he's an all right player. And I think if you ask him now, everyone will say, no, Jordan Henderson's a proper player. He's very good. Physicality, creativity, vision. You saw his pass against Mane that, got that red card for Mane against Chelsea. And obviously he's a leader. So I think he deserves the credit he's got. And he's had a really good start to the season. And
the only reason I didn't go Hendo was because he missed the first couple, didn't he?
Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah. But I think for England to win a major tournament, he is going to be he has to play well. Like, we have to have Henderson. He has to play well because he's such a focal point in that team.
He's just so consistent. And also the best thing about him is he's going to bring the best out of everyone else on the pitch.
I think for England to win a major tournament, we might need a different manager.
I think we might need a different goalkeeper as well.
Agree. Yeah. Juan, I'll go back to you for your wide roles in the midfield.
So my front 4 is very fluid. It can be a 4-4-2 or a 4-2-4. As long as they're on the pitch, that's what matters. I would be one of those flexible managers, you have a rigid back 4 and defensive system, and then the forward players, you go just get on with it.
Are you a manager that's going to make a sub at half time if you're down 1, or are you going to let it roll till 75 minutes?
Oh, not 75. That's one thing that frustrates me about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is he waits 10,000 years to make a substitution. But yeah, I wouldn't be afraid of, the hard decisions, making a sub at half time, putting the goalkeeper up front, changing it up, that sort of thing. But what I'll do is I'll go for the 2 players that would be slightly wider, because I've got 2 who would play more central and 2 who'd go wider. So one is Grealish, for the reasons that you mentioned. He's class in every way. And then the other is, of course, Heung-min Son, who I think has been absolutely outstanding, not just this season, but for ages. It must be, 3-4 years now he's been playing at the top level.
It's all that military work in Korea that's helped him out.
Yeah, well, this is it. They've drilled it into him or something. I don't know what's going on there. It's worked wonders. And if if I could raid any team of any particular player, I mean, he would definitely make my top 3. I think he's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, he's a good player. He is class. I actually went for my right mid. I also went for James Rodriguez. Although I play more centrally, I expect him to cut in. He's had a good start to the season, and you saw him against first game of the season, his debut against Spurs. I thought he was outstanding, and ever since then, 3 goals, 3 assists. He's kicked on. They missed him massively against Newcastle. There was no creativity in that game whatsoever, and he's a vocal point for them to do well this season. And my other one is Heung-min Son as well. Exactly like you say, Wan. He's been quality in 8 goals, scores with both feet, quick, great partnership with Harry Kane. Perfect duo.
I'm also just going to say it right now. I've got Son in my team. Like, and he's played my like sort of wing role up front. But yeah, I mean, I don't get how you stop him at the minute.
So we all picked Son. If we weren't to pick Son, who would we pick? If we couldn't pick Son, if he's injured,
as a left mid or a left wing?
Yeah, in that position. Who else is there?
I mean, obviously, you could say someone like Mane just because he's so influential, isn't he?
Mm.
You know,
I think it's tough because
Hotter.
Hotter, yeah, exactly. But the thing is that there's been so many those number 9 roles that have done so well, like the central man. So it's hard. Maybe if you could push, could you push Vardy out and play him? I mean, that's pushing at it.
No, I agree. And I think the thing about Mane and Salah and Sterling and all these players, we expect that every single season. Do you know what I mean? They're always going to be spoken about because they are so good. And although Son's been so good for 3-4 seasons, he's not actually spoken about in that same bracket. And now I think people are starting to realise, well, actually, he's some player.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree. Wan, what do you reckon? Who are you putting in that role instead of Son?
Well, it's surely got to be the man who's fed the nation's children. I mean, let's not forget his record this season has been pretty good.
Yeah, it has been good. Yeah, that's been very good.
Maybe 6 goals and 3 assists or something like that. It's not bad at all. And
I had a bet on Rashford to score a hat-trick against Arsenal. That went well.
Yeah.
Should have bet him against Leipzig, mate.
Don't think he touched the ball more than 3 times, let alone put it near the goal 3 times.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and just for his all-round good guy nature, I mean, you can't go wrong with that.
He's a good player. He's the player at United. I said this last episode. Who I look at, and if I was facing, I'd be like, I'm scared of him because
Yeah. I'm gonna finish my front 3 because mine are pretty boring and I think you can expect I've already picked. Playing as a sort of the wider man, I've got Mo Salah. I just think I think he's 8 goals he's got this year. He's the main man for Liverpool. Obviously, Mane is a big part of what they do as well, but he just happens to get the goals. He obviously got that win against Leeds in the first game of the season, where if they don't win that game, then maybe we're looking at Liverpool that have done slightly worse this season. And no matter how well we played against Liverpool in that win, whenever he got the ball, I was panicking. I think it was 5-1, and then Salah scored his second. And my brother was like, "Do you feel like you've won?" I'm like, "No." I was still nervous that we were going to bottle it at 5-2. So I've got Salah, and then my number 9, obviously I could have picked the likes of Calvert-Lewin and Vardy, given the start they've had, even someone like Danny Ings, but I've got my Harry Kane. I mean, the partnership that him and Son have had this year, I just don't know how you stop it. I don't know. Do you guys know what's the partnership that they've just got to beat now between goals? Is it Drogba and Lampard? I think it's Son and Kane have assisted each other and scored 29 times. And yeah. I think it's Drogba and Lampard who have got 36, and they're the only Premier League duo to be ahead of them. So that's a pretty ridiculous stat.
This is the thing. There are so many, if you think Les Ferdinand and Shearer, Suarez and Sturridge, even Van Nistelrooy and Rooney at times, there's so many good partnerships, and this is probably a partnership that you would start to put in that bracket.
Yeah.
It's that good.
It's just the fact that the one that got me was the fact that who was it again? Who did they score really early on again? West Ham. When Kane's literally playing as a central midfielder and he puts that ball in over the top, they're so fluid that I just don't get how you stop them, to be honest. But yeah, that's my 11. I kept it only 2 Villa players. Yeah.
Kane and Son, they seem to enjoy sort of assisting each other and deliberately looking for each
Yeah.
other. They seem to
100%.
quite enjoy it.
Yeah.
The celebration, Son always points at Kane and has a little smile on his face. It's
Yeah, bit of a bromance going on.
it's definitely, I think, one that Spurs, they need to have a good year this year to keep one of them, at least both of them, at the club, because the longer it goes on, someone with Harry Kane's quality, is he going to want to stay at a club which doesn't push for trophies? I don't know, but hey, we'll see what happens. But Wingo, I'll let you have your 2 moments of magic up top before Wan.
Well, I've always gone for Harry Kane. Regardless, more so not for necessarily goals. He scored 6, but more for the fact he's got 8 assists.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He's at the top of the leaderboard for that, and obviously he's a striker, centre forward, and I just think we sometimes forget how good this guy actually is at passing. I remember Jamie Carragher was saying on Monday Night Football, he was putting him in the same bracket as Kevin De Bruyne passing wise, and I was like, okay, well, steady on, Jamie. Like, I don't know about that, but he is that good, and people forget how good he is. His all-round play. So he's let's put him number 9.
Harry Kane.
Yeah.
In my opinion, he's a top 10 footballer in the world right now.
Yeah, I think, the problem with Harry Kane, I think he's maybe not visually that pleasing to watch, and not the way he looks.
I was going to say,
but do you know what I mean? Because he's quite
Harry,
like...
if you're watching, we love you, mate.
Yeah, he's more like of your traditional centre forward, like big guy, can chest it, get scores headers and that, 30-yard screamers and stuff. Whereas if you look at City's front three, Liverpool's front three, you watch Mane, you watch Salah, you watch Aguero, and you think, wow, because they're silky, they go past players easy, low centre of gravity. So maybe that's why he doesn't always get the credit. But look, he's been class for 4 or 5 seasons now, and he's easily one of the best strikers in the world, like hands down. So he's one of my strikers. My other one's Calvert-Lewin, because purely, again, 8 goals, top of the leaderboard, and I just think everything at the moment is going in. Obviously, we know how good he is at headers, and it helps having Big Dunk at Everton, to help him train those. But he's playing really well, and he missed a big chance on the weekend, but he came back, and then he ended up scoring his second chance against Newcastle. So he's been rewarded with an England call-up, and I think he's been class. But I would just like to say, I think Salah, 7 goals this so far this season. He's been great, and also Jamie Vardy, purely because we forget that he's 33, and he's been doing this season upon season. I don't know whether Krish has got him in his team, but he's a class out, Vardy.
Also, this is the last thing I'm going to say about Harry Kane and me climbing into him, saying how good he is.
You love Harry Kane, don't you?
But this is another bold statement. I think he is the best England footballer I've watched in my lifetime. I don't know if I've seen a better English footballer in my lifetime. There you go. I'll stop there, Harry Kane.
Now, hang on a sec, because we're going to have to... Are we talking in an England shirt, or are we just talking English football in general?
Just English footballer. In our lifetime, from 1999 onwards.
I'm not sure I can agree with that.
yeah.
Right, I'll let Wan finish off his team before you guys roast me.
There's not much to add. I went for the Kane DCL partnership.
Nice.
I think both have been superb this season. I think one complements the other, because, as you said, Kane is not so good looking and Dominic Calvert-Lewin is quite good looking. So I think that sort of evens itself out. And for the footballing reasons you identified, I think both have had great starts, and particularly with Kane as a provider, I think that was quite important, which is probably why I edged him over Vardy in my team, because I think Kane can bring in some of the other attacking players that I've got in my team. I just find there's just something about Jamie Vardy, like, you know what he's going to do every single time, and yet people still can't defend him. Like against Leeds, they were at times criminal, their defending. They were leaving so much space, but he just scores time and time again. He is quality. But one thing I was going to ask you boys actually is, we've got a team this season so far, but who would be your manager so far?
Oh,
Go on, Lee.
You're throwing it out there on me.
I'll tell you what, I'll kick it off, because I actually did think about this. And I went for Ralph Hasenhüttl at Southampton. Purely because I know they lost their first 2 games.
We were robbed.
They bounced back. They're unbeaten in 5, and I think he's a good manager. He knows what he's doing. He drills his players, and they've got a decent side there. And obviously, if Danny Ings can stay fit, obviously I know he's injured now for 4 to 6 weeks, but he can. They can have a decent season, Southampton, for sure. So that's why I've gone with him.
I like that. Krish, I'll let you go while I just quickly look at the Premier League table.
Well, I've already called this man a football genius.
David Moyes.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think West Ham have been great, and tactically against some of the bigger teams that they played, come out on top. So
I will say against Liverpool, tactically they were very good, and it was tough. And it only really with Shaqiri and Jota coming on did we break them down. But for a good 80 minutes, they were spot on with their tactics.
yeah,
I can't say Dean Smith, can I? Because I'll get abused. But I'm gonna I'm actually gonna go with Roy Hodgson. Simply the fact that if you look at 1 to 11, the Crystal Palace team, and compare it to the majority of Premier League teams, there's no way you're backing Palace. Like other than Zaha, like Townsend comes off once every 58 times when he shoots. I like the look of that Ridderveld, or however you pronounce your name, in the midfield. But like they've got like James McCarthy and James MacArthur starting as their midfielders. Like just for me, their team's so poor, and the fact that he has this ability to grind out wins. And like we saw it, I think we saw it mostly was the fact that when United played Palace and Palace went 1-0 up, and at that point I was like, this is almost game over, because Palace is so good at not having the ball and being compact, and United had no sort of flair or attacking threat. And I was just like, this is perfect. This is Roy Hodgson all over. And for me, yeah, that's why I'm going to go with him.
to be fair, Palace have won more games in the Premier League at Old Trafford than United have this season.
Yeah.
Was it Old Trafford? Oh yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, we played 4 at Old Trafford, lost 3, drawn 1.
Bloody hell. But what was the thing before tonight? It was 19 unbeaten away from home
Yeah, and 10
in all
wins.
comps or something.
Yeah, 10 wins. Yeah.
Like that's a silly stat. That's unreal.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Istanbul Baskashir or whatever, a good side, mate. You got to take that with a pinch of salt.
Yeah. Also, Skirtle. Just to
With his hair.
Yeah. Why did he choose to be bald?
What a legend.
He's left Halloween 5 days late with his lid.
Oh. What a legend.
Mate, I couldn't believe it. I think there was a post on a football Instagram page which was like, oh, the worst things come out of Halloween. And it was a photo of Skirtle, and I didn't even recognise it was Skirtle. I had to go on the comments. And someone commented like, I don't know what this means. And it was Skirtle's now got hair.
Mate, he's an absolute beat brick house. Like, he is just... you wouldn't want to mess with Martin Skirtle, would you?
It was quite cool, actually, watching it, having Skirtle as their centre-back and Demba Ba as their number 9. Like, the throwback Premier League.
And Raphael at right-back.
Yeah, and Raphael at right-back. It was a classic throwback Premier League.
Yeah.
Let me quickly get up the Premier League fixtures for this weekend. Chelsea are 2-0 up. Who scored the second?
Yeah. So, Wani, who have you got this weekend, then, mate?
Everton away.
Oh, Werner's got a double.
Tough game.
Right, yeah, let's predict our teams quickly in the last 5 minutes. So you've got Everton away. Wham, what are you saying there?
2-0 Everton.
Nothing like backing your team. I'm gonna go draw 1-0.
Who have
I'm
you got?
going-
Oh, you got City, haven't you?
No, that's for you. That's for Everton United.
Oh, I see.
Everton 0, Manchester United 1. This topsy-turvy season is going to continue, and they're going to win.
I don't see Everton winning. So they might get a draw, but I don't see them
This
winning.
is a big thing. I've got Calvert-Lewin in my fantasy team, and I've put him on the bench for the weekend. I don't think he's scoring against United.
Calvert-Lewin versus Lindelof and Maguire.
Mate, he's not scoring. Will, you've got City, don't you?
City, mate, away.
Is that Saturday 5:30?
No, it's Sunday 4:30.
Oh, Sunday. What do you think there?
I'm gonna go Liverpool 2-1. I don't think, and look, this could come back to haunt me, but I think if we play the way we can play, and the last couple of league games we've been poor, by the way. We found there's something about Liverpool the past couple of years. We played outstanding for the majority of the time, but when we haven't played our best, we've grinded a result and we've got the 3 points, and that's what we're best at, and that's why we've been champions. But I think Matip should be back. Thiago, I'm not too sure, but I just think City aren't full strength, are they? We don't know if Aguero's going to play. I know Jesus scored midweek in the Champions League, but if we play how we can play, I think our front three will cause a massive problem. So, yeah, I'm going to go 2-1. I don't see us losing it. I really don't.
Krish, what are you saying?
3-1.
3-1 Liverpool.
Oh, I don't know. Not a clue. Too hard to call. But I think there'll be goals.
It is hard to call. I agree.
I'm going to go 3-1, but I'm not going to decide who to.
I'm similar to Krish, but I'll give Will the benefit of doubt. 3-1.
What I would say is...
No, I'm going to say 2-1. 2-1 to the Reds.
I expect Matip to play because he's fit and he travelled to Atalanta, but him and Gomez have never actually played together.
Yeah.
So, and obviously you're not going to risk a young boy, are you, against City? So, I mean,
Yeah, true.
I do expect it to be goals, 100%.
And to wrap it up, Villa Arsenal. We've got to get something this week. I mean, 2 losses on the bounce. We have to get something. We have to get a point because it's international weekend afterwards. Arsenal 0, Villa 1. We're going to sneak it. Ollie Watkins penalty in the 83rd minute. You heard it here first. Wan, what you say? Away at Arsenal, yeah.
I'm going to go
2-1 Arsenal.
Yeah, I'm going to go 1-0 Arsenal.
Excuse me?
Sorry, lad. You're coming off a bit of bad form, and I know you should.
My internet's breaking down. Did you say 2-1 Arsenal?
I know you should have got a result against Southampton. Like there were 3 worldy goals in there.
Hey, did you see the first goal? Target doesn't even touch him, and the bloke Walker Peters just falls over.
But Arsenal. I think Arsenal have one of the best defensive records in terms of amount of goals conceded.
Yeah, they've only conceded 7 so far. I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Liverpool have the worst defensive record, and they're top of the league.
Yeah. But you know what? We've conceded less without Van Dijk than with him.
Yeah, and 7 against Villa. You can't.
Yeah, he's overrated. Why did you buy him?
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, that's it for this episode, boys. Cheers again for coming on and discussing all that.
Thanks, mate.
Hopefully, Liverpool, United, and Villa can get the 3 points on the weekend for international weekend, and Ollie will be at the wheel for after. In a couple of weeks.
Otherwise, the next episode will be analysing Pochettino.
Mate, as long as Ollie's at the wheel, they'll never win a title.
Exactly, there we go. But cheers anyway, guys. My birthday in 6 days. Target is to get to 250 subscribers. I think we're like 6 short at the minute, but that's the aim.
Come on, guys!
Come on.
Yeah.
Let's do it. But anyway, cheers, boys.
Thanks, Leif.